Hi, Dr. Revis here. In this video, I will practice how to obtain the protons, electrons, neutrons, and mass number for subatomic particles having charged ions. See my other videos for a more extensive discussion on how to calculate protons, electrons, neutrons, and mass number, and also practice problems for neutral atoms. Let's start with selenium -2. Since this is selenium -2, we note that we have added 2 electrons to the neutral atom. In this case, we start with a mass number of 80 and 34 protons. To obtain the number of neutrons, we simply subtract the number of protons from the mass number. To obtain the number of electrons, we must add the number of additional electrons to the number of protons to obtain 36. Let's consider aluminum +3, which means we've lost 3 electrons through the process of oxidation. In this case, we have a mass number of 26. To obtain the number of protons, we simply look at aluminum on the periodic table for its atomic number, which is 13. To obtain the electrons, because this is a positive charge, we must subtract the number of lost electrons from the number of protons to give us 10. To obtain the number of neutrons, we subtract the number of protons from the mass number to obtain 13 neutrons. Let's consider beryllium +2 with 5 neutrons. The atomic number for beryllium is 5. Therefore, we have 5 protons. The mass number equals the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. To obtain the number of electrons, we simply subtract the number of lost electrons from the number of protons to obtain 3. Let's consider a charged ion having 17 protons, 18 electrons, and a mass number of 37. We can determine the identity of the element based upon the number of protons, which equals the atomic number of 17, which corresponds to the element chlorine. Next, we want to determine the charge on chlorine. To do this, we subtract the protons minus the electrons to obtain a charge of -1. To determine the number of neutrons, we simply subtract the number of protons from the mass number to obtain 20. Let's consider an unknown charged ion having 14 protons, 18 electrons, and 15 neutrons. We can identify the element as silicon based upon the 14 protons, which equals the atomic number of 14 for silicon. We then subtract protons minus electrons to obtain a charge of -4. The mass number is obtained by adding the protons plus neutrons for a value of 29. There you have it, practice problems for charged ions of subatomic particles, protons, electrons, neutrons, and mass number.